Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Table read, Night of the Living Dead.
Now we're going to say table read and just fucking give me zombie sounds. 1, 2, 3.
Table read.
That was the best ever, yeah.
Night of the Living Dead. Written by George A. Romero and John A. Russo. Exterior, cemetery, dusk. It is an ordinary dusk of normal quiet and shadow. The gray sky contains a soft glow from the recent sun, so that trees and long blades of grass seem to shimmer in the gathering night. There is a rasp of crickets and the rustle of leaves in an occasional whispering breeze. Transitions are easy and gradual, with relaxed studies of earth, grass, and leafy branches on a high mounded hill. Revelation of cemetery markers does nothing to disrupt the peacefulness of our established mood. When awareness comes, it is almost as though we have known where we were all along. We are in a typical rural cemetery, conceivably adjacent to a small church. Although the presence of a church is felt rather than confirmed, the stones range from small identifying slates to monuments of careful design, an occasional Franciscan crucifix, or a carved image of a defending angel. Over 100 years of death indicated in stone syllabic with their year and the status of the families they represent. Over the other night sounds is added the gravel rumble of a slow-moving car. A wider shot reveals the car and the mounted cemetery. As the car pulls into the gate and moves down one of the cemetery roads, the car passes an extreme foreground and moves away from the camera. In the breeze of its passing, the dead leaves that clutter the little road swirl and move. Beyond the distant trees, the last receding gray of dusk and surrendering to the black, the car continues. When the car stops, we feel the absence of its sounds, replaced by the crickets and the subtle wind. Even as the car is still rocking slightly from its stopping action, we cut to a shot through the driver window at the occupants of the car. The driver is a young man in his mid-20s, and his passenger is a young woman, his sister. The man is in shirt sleeves with a loosened tie. His suit coat is on the clothing hook over the back seat. The girl is wearing a simple but attractive summer suit with a jacket removed and folded in her lap. She is fussing with her purse while the man shuts off engine, lights, and leans back to yawn and stretch his legs. The girl closes a potato chip bag, brushes crumbs, fluffs her hair. Typical feminine gestures after a long ride. The man stretches again.
They ought to make the day the time changes the first day of summer. Then two good things would happen all at once.
A little laugh from the man as he straightens his tie.
I love the long days and the extra sun.
A lot of good the extra daylight does me. I lost an hour's sleep, and it's dark already, and we still have a 3-hour drive, and we won't even get back till after midnight.
Barbara reaches down to put her shoes on.
If it really dragged you that much, you wouldn't do it.
Are you kidding? I certainly don't want to blow Sunday on this scene. We're either going to have to move Mother to Parkville or the grave to Pittsburgh.
Oh, you're just being silly. Mother can't make a drive like this.
John reaches to the back seat and produces a flowered, cross-shaped grave ornament. In the center of the cross, in gold script on a red field, is written, "We still remember."
Look, $25. We still remember. I don't. You know it. I don't remember what the guy looks like.
Johnny, it takes you 5 minutes.
3 hours. No, 6 hours. 6 hours and 5 minutes.
Barbara continues to primp and straighten her outfit. John hands her the grave ornament and leads forward to struggle into his suit jacket.
Mother wants to remember. So we have to drive 400 miles to plant a cross on a grave as if he's staring up through the ground to check out the decorations. We have to remember. And she stays home.
Johnny, we're here. All right?
She opens her door and turns to step out. John takes the keys from the ignition and drops them into his pocket.
Hey, Barb. You know the radio's been on the whole time?
Ladies and gentlemen, please What? Hey, you got a signal, Charlie?
It must have been the station.
Do not be
John clicks the radio off. He gets out of the car and walks around the front of it, trotting to catch up with his sister. It is obvious that she didn't hear him. He catches up to her and starts to repeat his discovery about the radio.
Hey, the radio's okay, it's just...
Barbara is more interested in finding the row containing their father's grave.
You remember which row it's in?
Oh, it's over here, I think.
They start in his suggested direction.
Did you hear the radio? The radio's fixed. Must have been the station, not the radio.
Good. You won't be as bitchy driving home.
Their jibes at each other are not really in anger, but are typical of brother-sister annoyance. They walk through the row of gravestones in the growing darkness.
Nobody around.
Well, it is late. If you'd get up a little earlier.
I already lost an hour's sleep on the time change.
Oh, sometimes I think you complain just to hear yourself talk.
An hour earlier, and it'd still be light. It's hard enough to find in the light.
There it is.
They move toward a grave with a standard rectangular stone. It is an unkept grave, its outline cropped and overgrown with grass and wilted flowers. John takes the flowered cross and, stepping close to the headstone, embeds its wire-pronged base into the earth as he rambles on.
Yeah, I wonder what happened to the one from last year. Every year, $25 for one of these things, and the one from last year is gone.
We hear Barbara's voice. The camera stays on John as he builds up some dirt around the base of the ornament.
The flowers die. And the caretaker or somebody takes them away.
Yeah, a little spit and polish, and they can sell them again. I wonder how many times we've bought the same...
He doesn't finish. In standing, he sees his sister with a pair of rosary beads, and he stops talking. She is praying silently, looking down at the ground. John straightens his tie and buttons his jacket. He steps behind his sister, puts his hands in his pockets, and rocks nervously on one foot. She continues to pray. John looks around the cemetery. The stones are soft and white. They seem very pale. There are a few moving shadows. The sounds of the night seem louder, but this is only because they have stopped talking. The situation does not seem ominous. John is merely bored. In the distance, a huddled figure is walking among the graves.
Come on, Barb. Church was this morning.
The girl continues her prayers. John lights a cigarette, idly exhales the first puff of smoke, and looks around again. The huddled figure still moves slowly among the graves. John turns to his sister and is about to say something, but sees her making the sign of the cross and dropping her beads in her purse. She turns from the grave, and they both start to walk away slowly.
Well, I mean, praying's for church.
I haven't seen you in church lately.
Well, Grandpa told me I was damned to hell. You remember? Right here. I jumped out at you from behind that tree. Grandpa got all excited. You will be damned to hell.
Barbara smiles.
Right here, I jumped out from behind the tree at you.
Barbara expresses annoyance.
You used to be so scared here.
Johnny!
Oh, you're still afraid.
Stop it! I mean it.
They're going to get you, Barbara.
Stop it. Your ignorance. Ugh.
They're coming for you, Barbara. They're gonna get you.
Johnny, stop!
They're coming out of their graves after you. They're coming to get you.
With this, John throws up his arms and his voice rises. The figure moving among the graves stops and stands for a moment. Barbara glances toward the figure, and momentarily, her anxiety turns to embarrassment.
You're acting like an idiot.
John speaks in a low tone now, glancing at the figure as they draw closer in their perpendicular paths. John's remarks now are directed to Barbara, as though he didn't want the old man to hear.
Here comes one of them now.
He'll hear you.
He's coming to get you.
Barbara purses her lips in anger. The couple is now only a few yards from the intersection of their path with the old figure.
I'm getting out of here.
He bolts and runs up the path.
John!
Embarrassed, she cuts herself short and continues to walk more rapidly now. Up the path, beyond the intersection of the man's row. John stops, laughing, and turns to look back at his sister. She is near the place where the paths meet, and so is the old man. We cut close to her. She is looking down in embarrassed silence, aware of her proximity with the old man. She feigns poise, and as she makes the intersection, looks up nervously to deliver a socially necessary smile to the old mourner. The old man lunges at the girl. His hands grab at her hair. A frightened gasp chokes her. She is coughing. The man grips her arm and slashes at her clothing. She flails about, choking, trying to yell.
Hey, God!
The man is all over Barbara, unable to hold her in her violent flailing. He is grabbing and tears her jacket and scratches her face. He seems to be trying to bite her arm. John leaps at the man. The three fall to the ground, Barbara kicking and beating with her purse. John gets a firm hold on them, and Barbara is able to wrench free. The man is thrashing wildly at all parts of John's body. They struggle to their feet. The figure thrashes, beats, tears like an animal. John clutches at him, and they fall in a heap. In the darkness, their form is as one thrashing thing. Barbara screams wildly. The two men make animal sounds. One figure gains the advantage and slams his fist down against the other's head. Barbara is panic-stricken. Her screams turn to frenzied gasps as she finds a tree limb and snatches it up. But when she looks up, she sees that one has vanished the other. She stops in her tracks. Night sounds. A close shot makes it clear that John is lying limply on the ground, with the other man hunched over his form. The man is doing something with the limp body, still ripping at it, perhaps groping for money. Barbara cannot tell.
Johnny!
The old man freezes and looks up. The girl raises her club and rushes toward him. He jumps into a half-standing position, like an animal hunched to spring. Barbara stops in her tracks. The man is breathing heavily. She starts to back away. The man holds very still. She backs away further, faster, total fear. The man starts to move slowly, cat-like. He steps over the body. Barbara drops the club and breaks into a dead run down the path. She screams. The man moves after her, but he is considerably slower than she is, with seeming difficulty in moving. He appears almost crippled. In a flailing run, Barbara reaches the car, sobbing. She yanks open the door. She can hear the man drawing nearer. She scrambles into the front seat and slams the door shut. No key. The man draws nearer, seeming to move faster, more desperate to reach the girl. Barbara sobs. She clenches the steering wheel. The driver's window is open. She struggles to roll it up, then pushes the lock button. The man is upon the car. Barbara dives across the seat to slam down the passenger side lock button. The man rips at the door handles and pounds violently at the car. The girl starts screaming again. The man, pounding, clawing. He grabs a stone from the road. The passenger window shatters into thousands of little cracks. Another pound sends the stone through the window, and hands grab through the opening to peel away the flakes of glass in sections. Barbara's screams become more violent. She summons enough presence of mind to reach for the emergency brake. The man pounds and flails at the window. The car, at the top of a long grade, slowly starts to drift. The man struggles to hold it, to rip out the glass. His arm breaks through. His sleeve is ripped and tattered. The hand grabs at the inside of the door, the car moving faster. The man struggles to cling. He is forced to trot after the car. Faster. He loses his footing, grabs at the fender, the bumper. He falls into the road. The car gains momentum. The man regains his footing and starts after the car. It is moving faster. Barbara is frozen in the driver's seat, clenching the wheel. The road ahead is black. The speed is frightening. She pulls the light switch. The headlights dance beams of light among the trees. The beams reveal the grade in the road, which is narrowing to one car width, and about 200 feet ahead, the downhill grade ends and an uphill grade begins. In desperation, the girl looks out the rear window. Against the sky, in the light from the cemetery gate, the man is still coming after them. In panic, she looks about. She is still in the cemetery proper. Rows of graves on both sides of the road. No lights from the house, no signs of life. The car slows. Its momentum carries it some distance up the upgrade. Barbara glances backwards. The man is moving faster toward her. She is terrified. The car reaches a full stop. There is increased panic in her face as she forgets herself, and the car begins to drift backward toward the man as he draws nearer. The car picks up momentum, carrying her toward the pursuer. She grabs at the emergency brake and yanks it tight, the lurch of the car throwing her against the seat. She struggles with the door handle. The button pops up. The man draws nearer. She breaks from the car. The man keeps coming, desperately trying to move faster. Barbara runs off the roadway and onto the turf of the cemetery. She falls, kicks her shoes off, gets up, and keeps running. The man is still after her. She reaches a low stone wall which marks the end of the cemetery. She struggles over it and looks ahead for a moment to get her bearings. Across a main highway is a darkened gasoline station, and beyond it, an old house. She pants heavily, glancing up and down the highway, but there is no sign of traffic. The man is nearing the low cemetery wall. She breaks into a run across the highway. The gasoline station shows no signs of life. It is old and decrepit. One light is out over the pumps. The pump house and surroundings are nearly lost in shadow. Some 50 yards away, there's the old house. She runs toward it. She presses against the side of the house in a darkened corner, trying to look up into the window. Across the highway, she sees her pursuer struggle over the little wall, and in his clumsiness fall, groveling on the ground. In panic, she runs to the rear of the house and into the shadows of a small back porch. Her first impulse is to cry out for help, but she silences herself in favor of trying to stay hidden. She gasps, trying to hold her breath. Silence, night sounds, and the sounds of the man's running footsteps slowing to a trot, then a walk. The footsteps stop. Barbara quickly glances about. There is a rear window. She peers through it, but inside, everything is dark. The pursuing footsteps take up again. She presses back against the door of the house, and her hand falls on the doorknob. She looks down at it, grabs it with a turn, and the door opens. She enters quickly, as quietly as possible, and closes the door softly behind her, bolting it and feeling in the darkness for a key. Her hand finds a skeleton key, and she turns it, making a small rasp and click. She leans against the door, listening, and can still hear the distant footfalls. Barbara finds that she is in the kitchen of the old house. She gropes through a door and into a large living room. No sign of life. Her impulse is to cry for help, but again, she stops herself for fear of being heard by the man outside. She darts back to the kitchen, rummages through drawers in a kitchen cabinet, and finds the silverware. She chooses a large steak knife and, grasping it tightly, goes to listen at the door again. All is quiet. She goes back into the living room. Beyond it is an alcove that contains the front entrance to the house. She rushes to the front door to make sure it is locked. Cautiously, she pushes back a corner of the curtain to see outside. The view overlooks an expanse of lawn, large shadowy pine trees, and the service station across the road. There is no sign of the attacker. Suddenly, there is noise from outside, the pounding and rattling of a door. Barbara drops the curtain edge and stiffens. More sounds. She hurries to a side window. Across the lawn, the man is pounding at the door to the garage. She watches, her eyes wide with fear. The man struggles with the door, then looks about and picks up something and smashes at it. In panic, Barbara pulls away from the window. Across the room is a telephone. She rushes to it and picks up the receiver. Dial tone. She frantically dials the operator. Some buzzes and clicks. Then,
I'm sorry. Our lines are busy. Would you hold the line, please? I'm sorry. Our lines are...
She quickly depresses the receiver buttons, lets them up and dials again. Long pause. She can hear sounds from the gas station.
I'm sorry. Our lines...
She depresses the buttons again, dials 411 for information. Another long pause, then the rasp of a busy signal. The noises from the service station have stopped. She listens for a moment. She shudders with fear. Notices a telephone directory in a stand near the phone. Frantically, her fingers search to pages for the emergency numbers. The police. She dials shakily, but before she has dialed the last numbers, the repines of the busy signal come back over the receiver. She depresses the buttons again. Footsteps. She puts the phone down and rushes to another window. A figure is crossing the lawn, coming toward the house. It is a different figure, a different man. She runs to the door and peers out through the curtains again. The man still walks toward the house. A shadow darkens a strip of window at the left of the door. Its abruptness startles her. She peels back a corner of the curtain and sees the back of the first attacker not 10 feet away, facing the man who is approaching. The attacker moves toward the new man. Barbara freezes against the door and glances down at her knife. She looks back out at the two men. They join each other under the dark, hanging trees and stand looking back toward the cemetery. From inside the house, Barbara squints, trying to see. Finally, the attacker moves back across the road in the direction of the cemetery. The other man approaches the house, seeks the shadows of a tree, and stops. In an attitude of stolid watching, Barbara stares, but can see little. She lunges toward the phone again, dials the operator, the same recorded message. She barely stops herself from slamming down the receiver. Then, suddenly, a distant sound. An approaching car. She scampers to the window and looks out. The road seems empty. But after a moment, a faint light appears, bouncing and rapidly approaching. A car coming up the road. Barbara reaches for the doorknob, edges the door open very slightly. The light spills dimly over the area. There, under the great tree in the lawn, is the silhouette of the second man. Barbara shudders. She is afraid to make her break for the approaching car. The figure appears to be sitting quite still, its head and shoulders slumped over. It seems to be looking right at the house. The car speeds by. Barbara just stares at the figure. She cannot run. She closes the door and backs into the shadows of the house. She turns to see all around her. The large, dreary rooms are very quiet, cast in shadow. She spies a stairway, runs toward it, still carrying the knife, and starts up the stairs. The camera is level with her eye and picks up her view of the stairs as she runs up. Panting, frantic, she climbs, her hand grazing the banister. Still at eye level, the camera starts to pick up the top of the stairway, the floor of the second landing. A brief glimpse of something on the floor there. She continues to climb. The floor of the landing. Zoom in, toward camera, the hand of a corpse. Barbara stops. The corpse is almost skeletal, with its flesh ripped from it, and it lies at the end of a trail of blood. Screaming in absolute horror, Barbara almost falls down the stairs. She is gagging. She breaks for the door, unlocks it, and flings herself out into the night, completely unmindful of consequences. She is bathed in light. 2 headlights are screeching toward the camera, the sounds of a vehicle stopping. Barbara covers her face with her arms. Someone rushes toward her.
Are you one of them?
She stares, frozen. A man stands in front of her. He is large and crude, in coveralls and tattered work shirt. He looks very strong, and perhaps a little stupid. Behind him is an old, battered pickup truck, which he has driven right up onto the lawn of the house. He holds a large crowbar in his hand and stands there panting. Behind him, the man at the tree still stands. Barbara is still frozen.
I said, are you one of them? I seen 2 look like you.
The man at the tree moves forward. Barbara screams and steps back. The truck driver spins to face the other man. The other man stops in his tracks. The truck driver backs protectively toward the girl, while the other stands, just watching. Finally, the truck driver seizes Barbara's wrist and pulls her into the house, slamming the door behind them. Barbara falls back against a wall. The truck driver locks the door and throws the bolt. He is breathing hard. He turns to look at the girl. She brings the knife up in a defensive gesture.
All right. It's all right now.
She stares widely at him. He immediately concerns himself with his surroundings. He moves into the next room to check the windows. He tries a lamp. It lights. He turns it off. Barbara weakly lowers the knife and falls to a sitting position in a chair. She watches the man intently. He calls to her from the other room.
Don't you mind the creep outside? I can handle him. There's probably gonna be lots of more of them as soon as they find out about us. I'm out of gas. And them pumps over there is locked. You got any food here? Look, I'll get some grub, and then we can beat them off and skedaddle.
She just stares at him.
The phone ain't no good. Might as well have 2 tin cans of string. You live here?
She remains silent, looking toward the top of the stairs. The man follows her stare and starts toward the stairs. Halfway up, he sees the corpse and stops.
Oh, be Jesus.
At the bottom of the stairs, he just looks at the girl shivering with shock in her chair. Then he forces himself back into action.
Hey, we gotta bust out of here. Get to where there's some folks. Somebody with guns or something. I'll try to scare up some grub.
He enters the kitchen and starts to rummage. He flings open the refrigerator and the cupboards. Finding a stack of large paper grocery bags, he opens one and starts to fill it with things from the refrigerator. He hurls the stuff into the bag. He is interrupted by Barbara's voice.
What's happening?
The man looks up at her.
What's happening?
The truck driver looks at her. She stands like a frightened child in the kitchen doorway. He is amazed at her question. A shattering crash startles them. The man drops the groceries and seizes his crowbar. He runs to the front door and looks out through the curtained window. Another shattering sound. The first attacker has joined the second man at the old pickup truck, and with great sticks, the two are smashing out the headlights.
Two of them.
Once the lights are battered out, the two men outside start to beat at the body of the truck. The truck driver spins and lunges toward the girl.
How many? How many?
She backs further away. The truck driver lunges again, this time in desperation to make her understand.
How many? Come on now. I know you're scared, but I can handle those two creeps, right? Now how many more is out there? That truck is our only chance to get out of here. How many? How many?
He grabs her shoulders and she struggles against him, thrashing hysterical.
I don't know. I don't know. What's happening? I don't know what's happening.
She breaks into hysterical sobbing. The truck driver spins away from her and breaks for the door. He looks out the window for a moment. The attackers still beat at the truck, wildly trying to tear it apart. The truck driver flings open the door and leaps off the porch. The two men look up. For the first time, we see the faces of the attackers. They are dead things, and flesh on their faces is rotting and oozing. Their eyes bulge from deep sockets. Their hair is long, and their clothing rotten and in tatters. They are ghoulish beings, staring up at the truck driver. He starts for them slowly, with building vengeance. He moves steadily at first, with controlled power. He speaks as he advances, wielding his crowbar.
Come on and get it. Come on and get it. Come get some of this crowbar.
He concentrates on his attack, moving stolidly toward the two creatures. He breaks almost into a run. But the two, rather than backing off, move toward the man, as though drawn by some urge. The man pounds into them, swinging and thrashing with arms and crowbar. They are buffeted by his blows. They seem weak compared to him, but his powerful blows don't really stop them. It is like beating a rug. He flings them back and they advance again. It is a violent, brutal struggle. But the big man finally beats the two into the ground, and for a great while continues to pound at their limp forms. He breaks into almost sobbing with each of his blows. He beats them and beats at them as the girl watches in shock from the porch. He thrashes and beats until she starts to scream again. Her screams pierce the night. The man stops, breathing heavily. He stands, enveloped in the quiet of the night. The girl stands in the doorway. The truck driver turns to face her. He is out of breath. Suddenly, a noise behind the girl. She spins, and walking toward her from the kitchen is another of the hideous creatures. The truck driver leaps toward the thing.
Lock the door!
Barbara slams the door and locks it, backing against it, as another equally brutal struggle ensues in the living room. The big man again beats the attacker down, but another appears at the kitchen door. The truck driver leaps toward it, and with powerful crowbar blows, drives it out beyond the door so that he can fall against it, shutting it. He bolts it and stands leaning against the frame, trying to breathe. Long silence. The truck driver just stares down at the floor.
Oh, they know we're in here now. Ain't no use disputing that.
Outside the house, the fourth ghoul stands staring at the back door. Another slowly walks up behind it, and another. At the front of the house, 3 more stand near the bodies of the first 2. Pull off and follow focus from the front yard of the house, through the curtains at the front door, to the face of the girl as she spins to face the camera. Her face twitches in fright, and her eyes are wide with a non-blinking stare. As she spins, her eyes fall on the floor, where the dead humanoid lies. The thing is askew on its back, its right arm extended toward the girl with fingers twisted as though to grab. Cameras tracking in slowly. There is a slight movement in the thing's hand. It twitches. The whole body twitches slightly. The bent, broken neck has the being's head twisted upward in an open-mouthed, glassy stare. Barbara steps toward the thing. The fear in her face bears the beginnings of a sick frown. The hand twitches again. The girl moves closer, drawn toward it, staring down at it with overpowering curiosity. The thing is something dead, with the beginnings of decay on its face and neck. Barbara moves closer. The thing still twitches. She's staring right down into the thing's eyes. Her hands come up to her mouth. The urge to be ill, to scream, to run must all be fought. The glassy stare from bulging eyes, right back up at her. Camera shoots back and forth at her face with the staring eyes of the dead thing. Zoom in on the thing. It seems as though the body is going to stand again. Its face holds as much life as it did when it walked. Suddenly, with a rustling sound, the thing moves. Cut back. The big truck driver has a hold on the thing's legs and is dragging it across the floor.
Shut your eyes, girl. I'm getting this dead creep out of here.
He is sweating. His voice shows anger and anguish as he drags the body across the floor. Barbara just stands, her hands still at her mouth, watching. The sounds of the man's breathing and his struggle fill the room. With the body, he reaches the back door and lets the legs fall.
You filthy.
He cuts himself short. Cut in for a close-up. The stark light on the big man's face makes him shine in his sweat. His eyes are alert and afraid. He turns quickly to see through the small window panes in the door. Outside, lurking in shadow from the huge trees, the three beings watch and wait, their arms dangling and eyes bulging as they stare at the truck driver's activities. With a swift move, the big man unbolts the door, flings it open, and bends toward the inert thing at his feet. The ghoulish things begin to move toward him. With one great heave, the dead form is flopped outside the door. It lies across the threshold. The thing advances silently.
Filthy.
Another great effort shoves the body almost clear. From inside the house, the big man's efforts cannot be clearly seen by the girl because the door frame is blocking her view. She moves into the kitchen. The truck driver flops the body down onto the edge of the porch. The big man shudders. He fumbles into the breast pocket of the work shirt. The things advance. He produces a pack of matches, manages to strike one, and touches the burning tip to the clothing of the dead thing, and with almost a popping sound, the clothing catches fire. The things in the yard stop in their tracks. The fire blazes slowly. Shaking, the truck driver touches the match to other aspects of the thing's clothing. His fingers burn, and he snaps them, throwing the match into the heaped form. He is breathing hard. Standing, he kicks the burning thing off the edge of the porch, watches it roll down 3 small steps onto the grass, where it lies still, the flames licking around it. The 3 beings step back slightly. The big man clings to the banister around the little porch. His fists clench, and his face is fiery in the glow of the flames. His voice quivers.
I'll get you. I'm gonna get you, all of you.
He stands defiantly.
All of you.
One sec, Jack. He stands defiantly on the little porch, the flaming corpse separating from the things that wait. Wait is going to be the end of Act 1. However you want to do that to get us out.
How about no?
Oh, I love that.
He stands defiantly on the little porch, the flaming corpse separating from the things that wait. End of Act 1.
Thank you. All right, let's take a quick 5 minutes.
Last time on Night of the Living Dead, Johnny thought he was being cute in the cemetery. The dead had other plans. Barbara ran headfirst into apocalypse and stumbled into Ben, the one man in Pennsylvania who knew panic was a death sentence. While she cracked, he built walls. While fear spread, he grabbed a crowbar and dared the night to come. But boards don't hold forever. And those ghouls outside, they're not the headline. They're the warning shot. Act 2. Ben spins suddenly. The girl stands inside the kitchen door. His face is a fury of sweat and quivering anger. His eyes meet the girl's. She steps slowly back into the room. The big man, in great strides, re-enters the kitchen and slams the door, bolting it again. His breathing, still loud, is even more rapid than before. His eyes dart quickly about the room in search of something. He rushes to the cabinets and throws them open, begins rummaging through them. Standard kitchen utensils and supplies. He does not speak, just frantically ransacks the room.
See if you can find the light switch.
Barbara falls back against a wall, and her hand gropes to a switch. The light from an overhead fixture comes on, providing dim illumination. The big man continues to clatter about frantically. The light coming on makes the girl blink. She remains against the wall, her hand still touching the switch. It is as though she dare not move. She watches silently. The man flings open drawers and spills contents onto the shelving and onto the floor. His hands fall to the silverware drawer, still open from when Barbara first discovered it. He pulls it out until it stoops itself with... What? It stoops itself?
Stops.
Thank you. Yeah. It stoops itself with a crash. He pulls it out until it stops itself with a crash. He roots through it, pulls out a large knife and, sucking his breath in, stuffs it under his belt. Then he reaches into the drawer again and produces another knife. Taking Barbara by surprise, he strides toward her. He shoves the knife at her, handle first, but she falls back slightly. Her action stays his franticness. Breathing heavily through his words, he speaks to her.
Now, you hang on to this.
She hesitates, but she takes the knife. She seems weak, almost apathetic, as though she is losing control of herself. She stares at the weapon in her hand. Then her eyes come up to meet the man's intense face.
All right.
He pulls away from her and continues to rummage, but he speaks periodically now, between great breaths and between the brief times when his interest is wrapped in something he finds in his rummaging. His search is not without control. It has a coordinated purpose. It is selective, although frantic and desperate. He looks for nails and strips of wood or planks that he might nail around the doors and windows. His actions are hurried and intent after these defensive ends. At first, his search has his full attention. Gradually, as he moves about and begins to come up with several key items that he needs, his efforts pace down into a more deliberate flow. He starts putting up boards and tables against the vulnerable parts of the old house. The mood relaxes in intensity, becomes calmer, more analytical. The barricading instills a feeling of greater security. And the knowledge of some security begins to overtake the girl, bringing her out of her shock and passivity. The scene proceeds as follows. The girl looks at her knife, recedes against the wall. The noise of the search is ever present. The man mutters occasionally and spills his findings about the room. At first, as new cabinets and drawers fail to turn up what he's looking for, he grows impatient and more violent. Spools of thread, buttons, manicure implements, shoe shine materials. Another drawer. Immediately, as the drawer is flung open with a clatter, the big man sees what he needs. He almost leaps into the drawer.
Tell me, oh, tell me, you ain't the sweetest thing.
His big hand comes out of the drawer with an old pipe tobacco tin, and in one gesture, he spills its contents onto a shelf. Nails and screws and washers and tacks spill out onto the wooden shelf. A few roll too far and clatter onto the floor. His fingers scoop them up. He fumbles through the little pile of things and selects the longest nails. He stuffs them into the breast pocket of his work shirt. Even as he stuffs the nails into his pocket, he is already moving, his eyes seeking for his next need.
Hey, see if there's any wood around the fireplace out there.
His hands explore the shelf surface. The girl does not respond immediately. His impetus carries him toward another shelf, but in turning, he notices the girl, still motionless.
Look! You!
Angry at first, he stops himself, then speaks still frantically, but with less harshness.
You scared? I'm scared. I'm scared too. Just like you. Now, we ain't gonna be worth a plug nickel if we don't do something. Now, I'm gonna board up these doors and windows, but you got to pitch in. We gotta help ourselves, because ain't nobody coming around to help us. And we're gonna be all right, okay? Now, I want you to scamper out there and see if there's any wood in that fireplace, okay?
He stops, still breathing hard. The girl just looks at him. She starts to move very slowly, away from the wall.
Okay?
The girl is still for a long moment, then nods her head weakly.
Okay.
The girl leaves the room and he continues his search. She moves quickly into the living room area. The darkness stops her for an instant, slowing her pace. From the kitchen comes the clattering sounds of the man's search. She looks ahead. The white curtains on the windows seem to glow, and every shadow seems suspect. Barbara shudders. A shot of the foreboding room, closer shot on her face. On a table is a bowl of large, rounded flowers. A breeze causes them to stir in sync with a sound from the kitchen. The effect startles the girl. She dives for a table lamp, clicks it on, and dull illumination fills the room. The room is empty. She starts slowly toward the fireplace. Near it is a stack of logwood and a few planks that might be large enough to nail across the windows. Still clutching her knife, she bends over the pile and gathers up the planking. She stands with her awkward load, and the foreboding room faces her again, stopping her. She bolts and hurries toward the kitchen. Bursting through the door, she finds the big man pounding with his crowbar at the hinges on a tall broom closet door. One final swipe, and a great yank frees the wooden door, and the man stands it against the wall next to the broom closet. In the recesses of the closet, the man spots other useful items and pulls them out. An ironing board, 3 center boards from a dining table, and some old scrap lumber. He motions for Barbara to follow as he grabs the closet door and moves to the back door of the house, which he had previously bolted against the beams outside. He slaps the closet door up against the pane portion of the kitchen door and finds that with this same piece he can cover the kitchen window. He leans the piece against the wood and gropes in his pocket for nails. The door starts to slip slightly. It does not completely cover the adjoining window, but it leaves slots of glass at the top and bottom. However, it does cover the glass part of the entrance door. Barbara drops her burden and moves swiftly, helping the man by holding an end of the barrier in position. The truck driver accepts her help automatically without recognition and gives the barricade a cursory inspection as he determines where to sink the nails. Pulling several nails from his pocket, he places them and drives them in with his crowbar. He drives 2 through the door and molding until they grab, then moves to her side and drives in 2 more. When 4 are in, he whacks at them with the crowbar until they are completely sunken, then begins to add more. Now he starts to talk. The first decisive steps are taken. Quite a lot of relief comes with it. Most of the house is still vulnerable, but the measures taken instill confidence. While he talks, though, he keeps working rapidly, his pace as intense as ever.
There. Oh, my God. Just ought to hamp their crimper. They ain't that strong. They're,
2 more nails in position, driven to the molding. He tests the barricading wood with 2 good yanks. It holds.
Nah, they ain't coming through that.
He drives the last 2 nails all the way.
We gotta figure out how many nails we got.
He sees the parts of the windows that remain uncovered.
I'm gonna leave that for now. We'll fix the rest.
He turns quickly from the barricade and looks around the room. No other doors or windows except the door that leads to the living room.
Well, this place is fairly secure.
He examines planks and table extensions.
Now, if we have to...
The girl just stands and watches him.
If we have to, we just run in here. And no dragging now or fussing with your makeup, or I'll leave you out there. Just run in here and we board up this door.
The door between the kitchen and living room has been open all the time. The big man closes it, tests it. It shuts tight. He opens it again. He quickly chooses several of the lumber strips and stands them against the door frame. He gropes in his pocket and notices that his supply of nails is dwindling. He checks the pile sprinkled from the can. He empties the can completely and fingers the contents for all the longest nails and tosses just these back into the can. He hands the can to the girl.
You take these.
This time, she reacts quickly and takes the little tobacco tin from his big hand. As she does so, the man gathers as much of the lumber as he can into his arms and starts out of the room. Barbara follows. They are in the living room.
We ain't got too long. They're gonna be trying to hammer their way in here. They're afraid now.
He drops his load of wood in the middle of the floor and walks over to the largest front windows, talking as he moves. His speech is rapid.
Now they scared of fire too. I found that out.
His eye measures the site of the big windows. He looks all around the room. Finally, his eyes fixed on the large dining table, and he moves quickly toward it, talking as he moves, resuming his train of thought.
I swear, there must have been 50, 100 of them down in Cambria when the news broke.
Barbara watches, almost transfixed. At his mention of the number of the things, her eyes reflect amazement and frightened curiosity. The man reaches the table, walks around it studying its size, then hoists one end and turns it onto its side. Bracing it against himself, he heaves on one of the legs and tries to break it free. With a great ripping sound, the table leg is torn off, and the man drops it onto the rug. He continues talking, punctuating his remarks with vengeance on the table as he rips all the legs off.
I seen this big old gasoline truck, down Beekman's diner. And I heard the radio. I got a radio in my truck.
He wrenches at the second table leg. It cracks loudly but does not come free. He moves to where his crowbar lies on the floor.
Is it a case line or a cast line? Do we know?
I don't know. I'd say gasoline.
Gasoline.
Gasoline? Gasoline?
Gasoline. I'm gonna call it gasoline.
It is gasoline. That's what he says in the film, is gasoline. Isn't that funny? He says gasoline in the film.
This gasoline truck come screaming out the diner onto the road. Must have been 10, 15 of them things chasing it. It looked funny to me, but I don't see the things running behind it right away.
He picks up the crowbar and hammers at the table leg. The second powerful swat frees the leg. He moves on to the third.
I just seen this big truck. It looked funny, like how slow trucks will roll and they start, and it pulling out on the road and weaving. And then I see them things. And the truck moving so slow, they catching up and grabbing and jumping on.
Another table leg falls loose to the rug.
And the truck just cut right across the road, through the guardrail, I'm starting to throw on my brakes, and the truck smashes in this big sign into the pumps in the Esso station down there. I heard the crash, and that big thing started burning. And it was burning, but it was still moving right through the pump stand and into the station. And I'm stopped, just stock still. And I see them things, and they start to back off, right? Some of them running, or at least it looked like they're running, but they move kind of like they cripple, but they keep backing off, and it's like they gotta get away from the fire. And this guy, he driving the truck, he can't get out no how. He got the cab of the truck just plowed halfway into the wall of the station, and that thing was frying him in there, and he's screaming like hell.
Barbara's eyes deepen and her face wrinkles in anxiety. The continuing nightmare grows more and more complex. The man swats the last leg from the table, and the tabletop starts to drop. He regains control of it and struggles, trying to move it into the next room. Barbara automatically moves to his assistance as they walk together, each burdened by the heavy table.
Look, I don't know what's gonna happen, I mean, I don't know if the whole place gonna explode or just fly to pieces, or what's gonna happen. I start driving for the gas station, and that poor cat in the truck is screaming and screaming. And after a while, he just stopped.
The man sets down his end of the table and wipes beads of sweat from his forehead. His breathing is still heavy from his previous exertion. Wipes his hand on his shirt. His eyes are wide and angry. It almost seems as though he might weep.
And there's them things standing back across the road, just standing and looking like they just came from the grave or something. And they're over by the diner. And there's cars busting in the diner lot, and lots of the windows are smashed. And it's for sure some of them things done to people in the diner. And more is outside, just all over the place. Just it's weird, just biding their time for the chance to move in. So I started my truck up, and I barreled it through, right through some of them things. I'm steaming down right on them. And I get a good look at them, see. I seen them for the first time in my lights. And then I just run them down. I just grind them down hard as I can. I knock a couple of 50 feet, I swear. I just flailing into the air, and I just want to smash them. Crush them filthy things. And they just standing there. I crush them. They don't run, they don't even try to get out the road. Some of them even just reaching out like they're trying to grab me. They're just standing there, and the truck is just running them down like they bugs or something.
Barbara is wide-eyed, staring in disgust, her hands still clutched to the tabletop. She says nothing. The man sees her fear and stops himself. He refocuses his attention on the tabletop and starts to lift it again. Barbara is practically motionless. As he tugs the table, her hands fall away and she slowly pulls them against herself. He drags the table away from her, and she walks numbly behind, having forgotten to assist. She just watches the man's face.
I'm just, I got kids, and I guess they do all right. They can take care of themselves, but they only kids, and I'm being away and all.
Perspiring heavily, he tugs the twists at the tabletop, trying to fit it through the door frame and into the living room.
Now I'm gonna do what I can. I'm gonna get back. I'm gonna see my people. Things gonna be all right. Yeah. I'm gonna get back.
He has started to almost babble. He sees the girl intently watching him, and he stops. He composes himself with some effort and starts to speak a little more slowly. His voice is almost a monotone, with enforced calm, but he does, beneath his anger, seem as confident as could be expected of anyone under the circumstances.
Now listen, you and me gonna be all right too. We gonna head them things off. I mean, you can just smash them. All you got to do is just keep your head and don't be afraid. Look, we move faster than they can, and they're awful weak. If you don't run, you just keep swinging, you can smash them. We smarter than they are, all right? And stronger than they are. We gonna stop this, okay?
The girl stares.
All we got to do is keep our heads.
They look at each other for a moment, until the big man turns and picks up the table again. As he starts away with it, the girl speaks, quietly and weakly.
Who are they?
The man stops in his tracks, still supporting the heavy tabletop, and looks with amazement at Barbara's anxious face. Slowly, it dawns on him, the girl has never really been aware of the thing that has been happening. She had not heard the radio announcements, the bulletins. She had been existing in a state of uninformed shock.
You ain't heard nothing?
She stares blankly, silently, her eyes fastening in his. Her reply is her silence.
Wait. You mean you ain't got no idea what's going on here?
Barbara starts to nod her answer. She begins to tremble. Her trembling increases. She begins to shake violently. And suddenly, she flings up her arms and flails them about, sobbing wildly. She begins to walk in panic, wildly and aimlessly, in circles about the room.
No! I can't! What's happening? What's happening to us? Why? What's happening? Tell me!
The man grabs her, takes her to bring her out of it, and her sobbing jerks to a halt, but she remains staring, right through him, her eyes seemingly focused beyond him at some far distant point. Her speech, still nearly hysterical, becomes a little more coherent.
We were in the cemetery, me and Johnny, my brother Johnny. He bought flowers for this man. Came after me, and Johnny, he fought, and now he's.
All right.
He tightens his grip. She wrenches against him.
Get your hands off me!
She flings herself away from him, beating him across the chest, taking him by surprise. But in her momentum, she stumbles over an end table, barely regains her balance, and stands facing the front door, poised as if to run out into the night.
We've got to help him. Got to get Johnny. We've got to go out and find him.
Bring him!
She comes toward the man, pleading with tears, the desperate tears of a frightened child.
Bring him here! We'll be safe! We can help him! We can...
The man steps toward her. She backs away, holding one hand toward him defensively and the other toward her mouth.
No! No! Please! We've got to!
He takes one deliberate stride for her.
Now you calm down. Okay, you are safe here. Now we can't take no chances.
We've got to get Johnny!
Now come on now. Just settle down, all right? You don't know what these things are. It ain't like no Sunday school out there, all right?
Oh, please! Please! No! No!
She is sobbing finally. Her words become screams. She is verging toward complete hysteria. The man struggles to calm her. She wrenches from him, but his grip remains, so that her arms jerk her whole body in the act of wrenching away. She stares at the man. Their eyes meet in an instant of calm, but only an instant, before she screams. She kicks him again and again as he struggles to pin her arms at her sides and shove her against a wall. At the same time, he does not want to hurt her. With brute force, he shoves her backwards, propelling her into a soft chair. But she is up again, screaming and slapping at his face. He is forced to grab her again and practically slam her into a corner. He brings up one powerful fist and punches the girl. But her head recoils, and the blow is misplaced. It does not put her out of commission, but it shocks her into a dumb, wounded silence. He hits her again, squarely. Her eyes fall sorrowfully on his, and she begins to crumple. She falls limp against him. He supports her weight, easing her into his arms. Holding her, he looks dumbly about the room. His eyes fall on the sofa. He does not carry, but almost walks her to the sofa, permits her dead weight to fold onto it, and eases her head onto a cushion. Next to the couch is a cabinet radio. The man stabs at a button, clicking it on. While the radio warms up, he looks around for the tin of nails, finds it where Barbara had dropped it, takes nails and slides them into his pocket. The radio hisses and crackles with static. He returns to it and searches with a tuning dial. At first, just static. Then it spins past what sounds like a voice as he adjusts carefully, trying to find the spot. The tuner finds a metallic, monotone voice.
Zeke Radio Network. Normal broadcast facilities have been temporarily discontinued. Stay tuned to this wavelength for emergency information. Your law enforcement agencies urge you to remain in your homes. Keep all doors and windows locked or boarded shut. Use all food, water, and medical supplies sparingly. Civil defense forces are attempting to gain control of the situation. Stay near your radio and remain tuned to this frequency. Do not use your automobile. Remain in your homes. Keep all doors and windows locked.
A long pause. A crackle. The message repeats. It is obviously a recording.
Our live broadcasters will convey information as received from Civil Defense Headquarters. This is your Civil Defense Emergency Radio Network. Normal broadcast facilities have been temporarily discontinued. Stay tuned to
The big man waves his hand in disgust at the repetition of the radio and moves away as it continues its announcement. He resumes his efforts with a heavy wooden tabletop. This time he drags it to the living room window. He leans it against the wall and pulls back the curtain to peer outside. There are now 4 figures standing in the yard. The voice of the distant radio recording continues. The figures stand very still, their arms dangling, aspects of their silhouettes revealing tattered clothing or shaggy hair. They are cold, dead things. Something in the distance suddenly startles the truck driver. From across the road, a figure is moving toward the house. The man spins himself away from the door and rushes to the fireplace. He reaches for his matches. In the little stand near the couch, where Barbara lies unconscious, there are old magazines. The man grabs them, rips pages loose, and crumples them into the fireplace. He piles kindling wood in larger logs, then touches the paper with a lighted match, and a small fire takes hold. There is charcoal light on the mantel. He sprays the glowing fire, and it whooshes into a larger blaze, almost singeing the big man's face as he works. The larger logs begin to burn. He returns to the window. The recorded message repeats itself continuously. The man hoists the tabletop to the windowsill and braces it there while he places a nail in position. He pounds with a crowbar, driven by desperation. Another nail, and another. With the table secure, he checks it hastily and leaps to another window where he can peer out between its nailed-up boards. The new figure is just reaching the place where the others stand silently. The man rushes to the fire, where the biggest logs have now begun to blaze. He seizes the discarded table legs and saturates them with a charcoal light, then holds the largest ends into the fire until he has 2 good flaming torches. Then, a torch in each hand, he moves toward the door again. He nudges a big padded armchair ahead of him to the door and, taking both torches in one hand, pulls the curtain aside for another look at the yard. The figures still stand silently. With charcoal light, he drenches the padded armchair and touches it with a torch. It catches instantly, and flames lick and climb, casting flickering light throughout the house. The heat on the man is severe, but he has to fight it. He lunges for the door, unbolting it and flinging it wide open. From the yard, as the door bangs open, the flaming chair is visible. It throws eerie, irregular illumination onto the lawn. The waiting figures step back slightly. The man shoves the chair through the doorway. It slides across the front porch. It topples over the edge, and the flaming bulk tumbles down the steps onto the front lawn. In the rolling motion, flames lick and fly, and small particles of the chair's stuffing leap and glow in the night wind. The bonfire rages in the tall grass. The waiting figures back further away. Inside the house, the front door bands shut, and the man fastens the bolt. He hurries again to the window, puts more nails into the tabletop, fastening it securely, then surveys his surroundings, seeking out possible vulnerability. The camera moves with him, seeing the task that lies ahead. There is a side window in the living room, a window in the dining room at the other side of the house, the front door and the flanking glass panels. He turns, still inspecting, and his eyes reflect surprise. The girl is sitting up on the couch. Her demeanor is startling. We cut to her. Her face is bruised, and she sits in silence, staring at the floor. The radio drones on. The fire plays on her face and reflects in her eyes. The man takes off his jacket and moves toward her. He fixes his jacket over her shoulders and looks sympathetically onto her face. She just stares at the floor. The man feels dumb and helpless. Forlornly, he moves to the pile of lumber, chooses a table board, and goes to the side window. The radio voice continues. The truck driver boards up the 2 side windows, then moves to the front door. He gets an ironing board and places it across the door horizontally. It extends over the flanking glass panels, leaving cracks at the top and bottom, but they are too small for anything to get through. He drives nails through the board into the molding and tests the barricade for strength. Finding it sufficient, he leaves it and goes on to the next. In the dining room, there are 2 closed doors. He tries one, finds it locked, examines it, and finds no latch. It has been apparently locked with a skeleton key. The other door is unlocked and leads into a den which contains several windows. The man is disappointed at the added vulnerability. He thinks for a moment, then leaves the room, shutting the door behind him. It is clear that he's decided to board up the door rather than try to secure the bay windows. He checks his remaining lumber. The supply is dwindling, but he selects the best piece for boarding the den door. He's about to start hammering when an idea strikes him. He opens the door again and enters the room. There are chairs, a desk, a bureau. He steps to the desk and starts to rummage through the drawers. He pulls out paper, a stack of pencils and pens, a compass, 100 little odds and ends. Another drawer, 100 more things. He leaves it open. The bureau contains mostly clothing. He rips out the big drawers and hurls them through the doorway and into the dining area. 1 drawer, 2, their contents spilling onto the floor. He looks back at the bureau. A final idea hits him. He shoves the great piece of furniture through the door, walking it through the tight opening until it clears the doorway. Then the desk, which warrants another struggle, as the man attempts to secure all things of possible value before he finally nails the door shut. In the closet, there is a lot of old clothing. The man finds a good warm coat and jacket and flings them over his shoulder. High on the shelves are piles of old boxes, suitcases, hat boxes, an old umbrella. He looks for an instant, debating their worth or the possible worth of what they might contain. At his feet, he sees still more clutter: boxes, umbrellas, dust, shoes, and slippers. He picks up a pair of ladies' flats and examines them, thinking of the barefoot girl out on the couch, and tucks them under his arm. As he pulls away, something catches his eye. Within the dark recesses of the closet, something shiny, the sheen of a finished piece of wood, a familiar shape, lying under a pile of dirty clothing. He reaches eagerly, and his hand finds what he had hoped for, a rifle. He sets everything down and rummages even more eagerly all over the floor of the closet, through shoeboxes, under things, items coming flying out of the closet. A shoebox contains old letters and postcards, but in a cigar box, clattering around with pipe cleaners and cleaning fluid, there is a maintenance manual and a box of ammunition. He flips open the box and finds it half full. He shoves manual and cartridges into his pocket, then decides to take the whole cigar box full of material. He tucks it under his arm, gathers jackets and shoes, and leaves the room. In the dining room, he drops the load of supplies on the bureau, and the sight of the girl in the living room stops him short. She is sitting as before, not moving.
We're all right now. This place is good and solid, and I found us a gun and some bullets.
He looks at Barbara from across the room. She doesn't seem to take any note of his talking. He turns to his work, but continues to speak.
So, we got us a radio, and look, sooner or later, somebody's gonna come get us out of here. We got food in there, and I got you some shoes. We'll see in a minute if they fit, and some warm clothes for you.
He pounds at the nails. The pounding and the repetition of the radio message are the only sounds. The last nail in, the check for sturdiness. The big man turns toward the girl again.
Turn men to stay in your homes. Keep all doors and windows locked.
Other than her upright position, the girl shows no signs of life. Her wide eyes just stare through the floor at some point beyond.
Preferably boarded shut.
Well, that's us. We doing all right.
He can't smile, and with the girl not looking at him, his attempt is half-hearted. He takes up the rifle, the cigar box, a coat and her shoes in one clumsy armful. As he leaves the frame, the camera lingers for an instant. The alcove in the dining room is cluttered with things from the den, the large pieces of furniture obscuring the door that had been tried and found locked. The camera lingers long enough to make this door significant. The man kneels with his bundle in front of the girl, then drops the armful of materials at her feet. He holds the shoes that he found in the closet.
Now let's see how big your feet is.
Looking up at her, he is unable to cope with her catatonia, her stillness making him as gentle as he can be, but he converses with her, still expecting her to reply and react. She does not.
Come on.
He holds one of the shoes near her foot, waiting for her to lift her leg and slip into the shoe. She is still. Finally, the man takes one of her ankles and fumbles to put the shoe on her foot. It does not go on easily, partly because it is too small, but mostly because of her limpness. But he gets it on, sets her foot down, and takes up the other one. He succeeds in getting the second shoe on and leans back on his haunches looking up at her. She is staring at her feet.
Well, that's a real Cinderella story, ain't it?
No response. The man reaches and reflects for his jacket pocket, but he has given Barbara his jacket.
Oh, hey, you got my cigarettes.
He tries to smile again, still no reaction. He reaches toward her and his hand enters the pocket of the jacket he has draped over her shoulders. His action makes the girl look directly at him, and her stare makes him uncomfortable.
You got my cigarettes.
He tries a gentler tone, as one would try to explain some complex concept to a child. He pulls the cigarettes from the pocket and settles back from her again. He fumbles for a cigarette, puts it into his mouth, and lights it, trying not to look at the girl. Her gaze is still fixed on his face.
Okay. Now maybe you ought to lie down. You smoke?
He holds up the burning cigarette. Her stare drops from him back to the floor. He takes another drag and blows the smoke out quickly. Another idea.
Maybe you, Okay.
His okay is more definite than his other talk, and he scoops up the rifle and ammunition. He examines the gun, dumps the shells onto the floor, and methodically loads them, one at a time.
I don't know if you hear me or not, or if you're out or something, but I'm going upstairs now, okay? We safe down here. Ain't nothing getting in down here, at least not easy. I mean, they might be able to bust through that, but it's gonna be some sweat. And I can hear them, and I think I could get them out. Later on, I'm gonna fix things good so they can't get in no-how, but it's good for the time being. Listen, you are okay here.
He continues to load the rifle as he speaks, his cigarette dangling from his lip, causing him to squint from the smoke that curls around his eyes.
Now, the upstairs is the only other way someone could get in here, so I'm gonna go up and fix that.
He snaps the clip after the last shell, and is about to stand when his glance falls on the girl again, and he tries to get through one last time.
Okay? You gonna be all right?
She remains silent. The man stands, tucks the rifle under his arm, grabs as much lumber as he can carry, and starts for the stairs. The girl looks up at him, and he is aware of it, but he keeps moving, and her stare follows.
I'm gonna be right here. You're all right now. I'm right here. I'm right upstairs.
He starts up the stairs. At the top of the landing, he is confronted once again with the body that lies there, torn and defaced. He sets down his supplies, and the sight of the corpse is repulsive. He tries not to look at it. The body is lying half across a blood-soaked throw rug, and a few feet away is another throw rug with oriental patterns and a fringe sewn around its edge. The man grabs the second rug and rips away one edge of the fringe. Once the initial tear is made, the rest of the fringe peels away easily. He frees it, and taking the rifle, ties on one end of the fringe around the barrel and the other around the narrow part of the stock. This done, he slings the rifle over his shoulder. Then he leans over the corpse and takes a hold of one end of the rug on which it lies and begins dragging it across the floor. On the landing is a long corridor with several closed doors. He deposits the ugly load at one of the doorways and throws open the door. Inside is a bedroom. He tries the other doors and finds two more bedrooms, one a child's room. He begins to remove furniture into the hallway. His plan is to afterwards board up the doors. The noise of his work fills the old house. Downstairs, Barbara still sits dazed on the couch. The fire flickers on her face, and the burning wood pops loudly now and again. Objects in the room are silhouetted, and the atmosphere is stark. The camera moves slowly into her face.
Facilities have been instructed to discontinue programming. Stay tuned to this.
There is a sudden buzzing sound and crackling static. Then a hodgepodge of newsroom sounds as heard earlier by John on the car radio. Typewriters, ticker tape machines, low voices talking in the background. The sound holds for a long while. The girl does not seem to notice.
Ladies and gentlemen, what? Yeah, what? Yeah, I got that one. What? Another one? Put it through. Up-to-the-minute reports inform us that the siege, first documented in the Midwestern section of the country, is indeed spread across the nation and is in fact worldwide. Medical and scientific advisors have been summoned to the White House, and reporters on the scene in Washington inform us that the president is planning to make public the results of that conference in an address to the nation over your Civil Defense Emergency Network.
A long pause by the announcer. The camera studies Barbara's face. She is inert.
The strange beings that have appeared in most parts of the nation seem to have certain predictable patterns of behavior. In the few hours following initial reports of violence and death and apparently deranged attacks on the lives of people taken completely off guard, it has been established that the alien beings are human in many physical and behavioral aspects. Hypotheses as to their origin and their aims have to this point been so varied and so diverse that we must only report these factors to be unknown. Teams of scientists and physicians presently have the corpses of several of the aggressors, and these corpses are being studied for clues that might negate or confirm existing theories. The most overwhelming fact is that these beings are infiltrating through urban and rural areas throughout the nation in forces of varying number, and if they have not as yet evidenced themselves in your area, please take every available precaution. Attack may come at any time, in any place, without warning. Repeating the important facts from our previous reports, there is an aggressive force, army of unexplained, unidentified humanoid beings that has appeared in worldwide proportions. And these beings are totally aggressive, irrational in their violence. Civil defense efforts are underway, and investigations as to the origin and purpose of the aggressors are being conducted. All citizens are urged to take utmost precautionary measures to defend against the insidious alien force. These beings are weak in physical strength, are easily distinguishable from humans by their deformed appearance. They are usually unarmed but appear capable of handling weapons. They have appeared, not led, not an organized army, not with any apparent reason or plan. Indeed, they seem to be driven with the urges of entranced or obsessed minds. They appear totally unthinking. They can, I repeat, they can be stopped by immobilization. That is, by blinding or dismembering. They are, on the average, weaker in strength than an adult human, but their strength is in numbers, in surprise, and in the sheer fact that they are beyond our normal realm of understanding. They appear to be irrational, non-communicative beings, and they are definitely to be considered our enemies and what we must call a...
At this, Barbara bolts from the couch in wild screaming. She runs blindly toward the front door. The truck driver appears at the top of the stairs. Startled, unslinging the gun, he leaps down the stairs. The girl is clawing at the barrel, trying to break out of the house. She is sobbing in wild desperation. The man is almost upon her, but she writhes out of his reach, runs across the room toward the maze of furniture. Suddenly, from within the maze, strong hands grab her. She screams in pain. The truck driver rushes toward her, and he is startled by the sight of the other man, who is trying to contain the hysteria. Behind him, an older man stands holding a length of pipe at his side. They have come through the door that the truck driver has tried and found locked. The man holding Barbara is dressed in coveralls. He is probably a farmer. He is big and powerful looking.
It's all right. We're from the gas station. We're not...
Barbara sags against him and sobs sporadically, in shock and semi-relief. She is still nearly catatonic. The older man rushes to the radio. The truck driver just stares dumbly as Tom calms the girl and leads her to a chair where she sits very still, numb with expended emotion. The radio voice continues with its information about the emergency. The older man, Harry TINSDALE, crouches close to the radio, still holding his length of pipe.
Periodic reports as information reaches this newsroom, as well as survival information and a listing of Red Cross rescue points where pickups will be made as often as possible with the equipment and staff presently available.
The big truck driver stands staring at the two new men. He exudes an air of resentment, as though the strangers have intruded on his private little fortress.
What? Man,
Well, looks like you got things pretty well locked in.
Man, I could have used some help. How long you guys been in there?
That's the cellar. It's the safest place.
Man, you mean you didn't hear the racket we was making up here?
How are we supposed to know what was going on up here? It could have been one of those things, for all we know.
That girl was screaming. Now, you know what a girl sound like. Them things don't make no noise. Anybody got to know there's somebody up here could use some help.
You can't really tell what's going on from down there.
Yeah, we thought we could hear screams, but that might have meant those things were in the house after her.
And you wouldn't come up and help.
Well, if there was more of us.
Yeah, that racket sounded like the place was being ripped apart. How were we supposed to...
Wait, you just said it was hard to hear down there. Now you're saying it sounded like the place was being ripped apart? You better get your story straight, mister.
All right, now you tell me. I'm not gonna take those kind of chances when we get a safe place. We luck into a safe place and you're telling us to risk our lives just because somebody needs help?
Something like that, yeah.
All right, why don't we just...
Look, mister. All right, we came up, okay? We're here. Now I suggest we all go back downstairs before any of those things find out we're in here.
They can't get in here.
You got the whole place boarded up?
Most of it, all but upstairs. It's weak in places, but it won't be hard to fix it up good.
But you're insane. The cellars are the safest place in the house.
I'm telling you, they can't get in here.
And I'm telling you, those things turned over our car. We're damn lucky to get away at all. Now you tell me they can't get through a pile of wood?
His wife and kids downstairs. The kid's pretty badly tore up.
This statement takes the truck driver completely by surprise. His face softens. He exhales a deep breath. Nobody says anything for a long moment. Finally, the truck driver swallows and makes his point again.
Well, I think we're better off up here.
We could strengthen all these up, Mr. Tinsdale.
Man, with all us working, we could fix this up so nothing could get in here. And we got food, and fire, and we got the radio.
We can bring all those things downstairs with us. Man, you're crazy. You got 1 million windows up here. All these windows, you're gonna make strong enough to keep them out?
Them things ain't got no strength, man. I smashed 3 of them and pushed one other out the door.
I'm telling you, they turned our car onto its roof.
Oh, hell, any good 5 men can do that.
That's my point. Only there's not going to be 5. There's going to be 10, 20, 30, 100, maybe, you know? Once they know we're in here, the place will be crawling with them.
Well, if there's that many, they gonna get us wherever we're at.
Look, in the cellar, there's only one door, all right? Only one. That's the only place we have to protect, and Tom and I fixed it so it locks and boards from the inside. But all these doors and windows, we'd never know where they were going to hit us next.
Oh, okay, you got a point, Mr. Tinsdale. But down in the cellar, there's no place to run. I mean, if they do get in, there's no back exit. We'd be done for.
This stops Harry for an instant.
We could get out of here if we had to. And we could see what's going on outside. Down there ain't no windows, so if a rescue party does come, we'd never know it. Windows.
But the cellar is the strongest place.
The upstairs is just as much a trap as the cellar. There's 3 rooms up there, and they gotta be boarded up like this stuff down here. Then if they do get in the windows, they can't get past the doors. And they're weak. We could just keep them out. And I got this gun now, and I didn't have it before, and I still beat 3 of them off. Now, we might have to try and get out of here ourselves, because there ain't no guarantee that anybody's gonna send help. Suppose them things come in here. We can't bust out of the cellar, because we gotta open that one door, and they got us.
I don't know. I think he's right. You know how many's out there?
I figure maybe 6, 7.
Look, you two can do whatever you like. I'm going back down to the cellar, and you better decide, because I'm going to board up that door, and I'm not going to be crazy enough to unlock it again, no matter what happens.
Yeah, wait a minute, Mr. Tinsdale. Now, let's think about this for a minute.
Nope. I made my decision, you make yours, and you can stew in your own juice.
Now, wait a minute, damn it. Let's think about this for a while. We can make it into the cellar if we have to, and if we do decide to stay down there, we'll need some things from up here. Now, let's at least consider this for a while.
Man, if you box yourself into that cellar, and if there's a lot of them things that get into this house, you had it. At least up here, you can outrun them.
Tom has gone to one of the windows and is peering out through an opening in the barricade.
Yeah, looks like 6 or about 8.
His hand goes to his temple, and he rubs nervously, his demeanor a little shaken. The truck driver joins him at the window.
That's more than there was. There's a bunch out back, too. Unless they're the same ones that was back here.
He bursts into the kitchen as the fringed rifle sling snaps and the weapon starts to fall. He twists to keep it on his back and tries to grab it, reaching behind. His attention on the gun, he does not see the door as he moves toward it. He regains control of the gun and looks up and stops cold. Hands are reaching through the broken glass behind the barricade. Graying, rotten hands, scratching, reaching, trying to grab. And through aspects of the glass, the inhuman faces behind the hands. The barrier is being strained, no doubt about that. But it is holding well enough. The man smashes with the rifle butt against the ugly extremities, pounding, once, twice. One of the grabbing hands is driven back with the shattering of the already broken glass it was reaching through. The rifle butt smashes one of the hands against the door molding solidly. But the hand, unfeeling of pain, continues to claw after a hold. The man slides his finger to the trigger and turns the rifle, smashing the barrel through another of the little broken glass areas, and 2 of the gray hands seize the protruding metal. A dead face appears behind the hands, ugly, expressionless. The man's face looks directly through the opening into the dead eyes beyond, the man struggling desperately to control the weapon and the zombie thing outside trying to pull it away by the barrel. A brief instant when the muzzle points directly at the hideous face, blam! The report shatters the air. The lifeless thing is thrown back. Propelled by the blast, its head torn partially away, its still outstretched hands falling back with the crumpling body. The other hands continue to clutch and grab. Tom is rushed into the kitchen, and Harry is standing cautiously a few feet from the doorway, still in the dining area. A distant voice, that of Harry's wife, suddenly begins to cry out from the cellar.
Harry! 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 Are you all right?
It's all right, Helen. We're all right.
Tom immediately rushes to the door. The truck driver is pounding at a hand that is trying to work at the barricade from the bottom. The blow seems ineffectual as the hand, oblivious except for the physical jouncing about from impact, continues to grab. Tom leaps against the door and grabs the rotting wrist with both of his hands and tries to bend the wrist back in an effort to break it, but it seems limp and almost pliable. Disgust sweeps over the young man's face. He tries to scrape the cold thing against the edge of the broken glass, and the absence of blood is immediately evident as the sharp edge rips into what looks like rotting flesh. Another hand grabs at Tom's wrist and tries to pull it through the glass. Tom yells, and the truck driver tries to swing the barrel of the gun through the thing struggling with Tom, but another hand clutches at him even as he is trying to help the younger man. A hand is clawing and ripping his shirt, but he focuses his attention on aiming the gun. Another loud blast, and the hands Tom was fighting jerk back and fall into darkness. Foot against the wall, the big man forces himself away from the door, out of the grasp of the hand still clutching his shirt. The shirt tears away, and the thing backs off, still with the fragment in its hand. Badly shaken, Tom just stares through another opening in the door. The truck driver takes careful aim and pulls the trigger again. The blast rips through the thing's chest, leaving a gaping hole in its back. But it remains on its feet, backing slowly away.
Oh, good God!
Panicked at the failure of the weapon, the big man levels off again, another loud report. This time, the shell rips through the thing's thigh, just below the pelvis. The thing still backs away, but as it tries to put weight on its right leg, it falls to a heap. The two men just stare in disbelief. The thing is still moving away, dragging itself with its arms and pushing against the ground with its remaining leg.
Mother of God. What are these things?
No, give me more of that. This is not a pensive, like, inner moment. This is fucking full on, just, you're terrified.
So, sexier. Got it.
Way sexier. Yeah, good. Maybe, do me a favor. Just unbutton the shirt, just... Oh. Yeah,
Mother of God! What are these things?
The truck driver wets his lips, takes a deep breath and holds it, carefully sights down the barrel of the rifle again. He pulls the trigger. The shell seems to blow open the skull of the crawling form, and it falls backwards.
Damn thing from hell!
Outside, the thing that has fallen limply, without the use of its eyes, moves its arms in groping, clutching motions, seemingly still trying to drag itself away.
Harry! Harry!
After a moment of silence, the truck driver turns from the door.
We gotta fix these boars!
He starts to move to gather supplies when Harry speaks.
You're crazy. Those things are gonna be at every door and window in the place, so we gotta get into the cellar.
The big truck driver turns to Harry with absolute fury in his eyes. His voice is deeper in its rage and more commanding.
Go ahead into your damn cellar! Get out of here!
The shouting stops Harry for an instant, then his adamancy returns. He has decided that he will go into the cellar without the others if need be, and is now prepared to gather his supplies.
I'm taking the girl with me.
He moves toward the refrigerator in the kitchen, but the big man steps in front of him.
You keep your hands off her! She's staying here with me!
Harry is stopped again for a moment. Then he moves toward the refrigerator again.
And don't you touch none of that food! Now, if I stay up here, I'm gonna be fighting for what's up here. And that food, and that radio, and all this is what I'm fighting for. And you are stone dead wrong! You just wrong, you understand? Now, if you make it into the cellar, you get your ass moving! Get down them stairs! Get out of here, man! Don't you mess with me no more!
That man is crazy. He's crazy. We gotta have food down there. We have a right.
This is your house?
We have a right.
You going down there with him?
Oh, well...
No beating around the bush. You going or ain't you? This is your last chance.
There is a long moment of silence. Tom then turns to the older man.
Harry... I think he's right.
You're crazy.
I really think we're better off up here.
You're crazy. I got a kid down there. She can't take all the racket and those things reaching through the glass. We'll be lucky if she lives as it is now.
Okay, now you're her father. If you're dumb enough to go die down in that trap, that's your business. But I ain't dumb enough to go with you. It's just bad luck for the kid that her old man's so stupid. Now get the hell down the cellar. You can be boss down there, I'm boss up here. And you ain't taking none of this food. You ain't taking nothing.
Harry, we can get food to you if you want to stay down there and...
You bastards!
Harry! Harry!
Harry looks toward the cellar door, looks back at the two men, then quickly moves toward the door.
You know I won't open the door again. I mean it.
We can fix this up here. With your help, we could...
Yeah. Well, I think you're both nuts. With my help?
Let him go, man. His mind is made up. Just let him go.
Harry looks for a moment, then lunges for the cellar door, opens it, and slams it behind him. Sounds of his footsteps going down the steps.
Harry! Harry, we'd be better off up here!
The truck driver ties the broken fringe back onto the rifle, then begins to reload the gun, replacing the spent shells.
Harry, if we stick together, man, we can fix it up real good. There are places we can run to up here.
We hear sounds of Harry boarding up the door. The truck driver straps the gun to his shoulder again, then turns and moves toward the upstairs. In passing, his glance falls on Barbara. He steps backward off the stairs and looks at her. The radio has taken up again with a monotonous recorded message.
Harry, we'd be better off if all three of us was working together. Well, we'll let you have food when you need it, and if we knock, those things might be chasing us and you can let us in.
Barricading sounds stop. Footsteps can be heard as Harry walks down the cellar steps. Tom listens a while, then retreats, disappointed and worried about the lack of Harry's efforts and the defensive measures that must lie ahead. The truck driver is with Barbara, stooping beside her chair. She stares into an unseeing void. The big man softens at seeing her.
Hey, honey.
He brushes her hair back from her eyes. Tears well up, and it almost seems as though she might acknowledge his tenderness, but she does not. The man feels very sorrowful, almost as if he would feel for his child when it was sick. He massages his forehead and his eyes, tired from fear and exertion of the past hours. He bends to cover the girl with a coat that he had brought from the den, then steps away and feeds the fire and stirs it to keep the blaze good and warm. The primary concern in this effort is for the girl. Behind him, Tom walks up. Truck driver senses his presence.
He's wrong, man.
Tom is silent.
I ain't boxing myself in down there nohow. We might be here several days. We'll get it fixed up, and he'll come up. He ain't gonna stay down there very long. He'll want to see what's going on, or maybe if we get a chance to get out, he'll come up.
He turns and goes up the stairs. The cellar, with its dark gray walls and dusty clutter, seems cold and damp. Cardboard cartons tied with cord and a hanging grid of pipework all look dirty in the subdued light of bare light bulbs. The cartons take up most of the space. They vary in size from grocery boxes with faded brand names to large packing crates that might have contained furniture. The washing machine, an old roller type, sits off in a corner of the cellar near a makeshift shower stall. Lines for drying clothes are strung over the pipework so low that Harry has to duck under them as he walks from the stairs to the other side of the confining quarters. There are stationary tubs and an old metallic cabinet against one of the walls. Harry's wife, Helen, is at the faucet over the tubs, wetting a cloth with cold water. She looks up as Harry enters, but is more interested in what she is doing at the moment. She wrings out the cloth and takes it to where a young girl, their daughter, lies motionlessly atop a homemade work table. On a pegboard above the table are hanging tools and cables, and built into the table itself are drawers that probably contain smaller tools, screws, bolts, washers, etc. The woman moves a little stiffly in the coolness of the cellar. She is wearing a dress and sweater, while a warmer coat is spread on the table under the girl, its sides flopped up and over her, covering her legs and chest. The woman bends over her daughter and wipes her head with the cool cloth. Harry quietly walks up behind her. She concentrates on caring for the girl and pulls the coat more securely around her.
She has a bad fever.
There's 2 more people upstairs.
2?
Yeah. Well, I wasn't about to take any unnecessary chances.
Helen is silent.
How do we know what was going on up there?
Harry nervously reaches into his breast pocket for a cigarette. He produces an empty pack and, seeing that it is empty, crumples it in his hand and pitches it to the floor. He steps over to the work table, where there is another pack, snatches it up, and it too is empty. With the same crumpling action, he discards this pack, violently this time, the action spinning him in a position facing his wife and daughter. She continues to quietly swab the girl's forehead. Harry stares at them for a moment.
Does she seem to be all right?
Helen is silent. The girl is motionless. She is sweating to the point where beads of sweat are forming all over her face. Harry waits and, seeing no answer forthcoming, changes the subject.
They're all staying upstairs. Idiots. We should stick together. It's the safest down here.
He goes to his wife's purse and rummages through its contents. He pulls out a pack of cigarettes, rips the pack open, and fumbles for a cigarette. He lights it and drags in the first puff deeply. It makes him cough slightly.
They don't stand a chance up there. They can't hold those things off forever. There's too many ways they can get into the house up there.
Helen remains silent. On the floor, next to the workbench, is a small transistor radio. Harry's glance falls on it, and he stabs at it, scoops it up, and clicks it on.
They had a radio on upstairs. Must have been civil defense or... I think it's not just us. This thing is happening all over.
The radio picks up nothing but static. Harry plays with a tuning dial, listening anxiously, but across the receiving band the transistor just hisses. Harry holds the radio up and turns it into various positions, trying it for reception, spinning the tuner as he goes. Still nothing but hiss. He walks around the room with still no results.
This damn thing.
Still just static. Helen stops wiping the girl's forehead and neatly folds the cloth and drapes it over her daughter's brow. She gently places her hand on the girl's chest and looks over toward her husband. He moves impatiently around the cellar, his cigarette dangling from his lip, waving the little radio around in the air. The radio just emits static at varying levels.
Harry.
He continues his fidgeting with the radio. He goes near the walls and stares, holding it high and still spinning the dial.
Harry, that thing can't pick up anything in this stinking dungeon.
Her rising tone of voice stops him. He turns and looks at her. About to cry, she brings her hands to her face. She bites her lip and just stares at the floor. Looking at her, Harry lets his anger take a hold of him, but he cannot think of words. His face twitches, his emotions searching for some vehicle or expression until he pivots violently and flings the radio across the room.
I hate you, right? I hate the kid. I want to see you die here, right? In this stinking place. My God, Helen, do you realize what's happening? Those things are all over the place. They'll kill us all. I enjoy watching my kids suffer like this. I enjoy seeing all this happen.
Helen's head jerks toward him. She looks at him with what is almost vengeance.
She needs help. She needs a doctor. She's gonna die here, maybe. We have to get out of here, Harry. We have to.
Oh, yeah, let's just walk out. We can pack up right now and get ready to go, and I'll just say to those things, excuse me, my wife and kid are uncomfortable here. We're going into town, for God's sakes. There's maybe 20 of those things out there. And there's more every minute.
There's people upstairs. We should stick together, you said. Are we fighting with them? Upstairs, downstairs, what's the difference? Maybe they can help us. Let's get out of here. Let's go upstairs. Let's do something. Let's get out of here.
A pounding sound interrupts her. They listen. The sound is coming from the door at the top of the stairs.
Harry!
More pounding. Harry just stares up at the door and does not answer the call. Tears well in Helen's eyes. More pounding. Helen looks at Harry. When he does not respond, she gets up and goes for the stairs.
Yes! Yes, Tom!
Harry, running after her, grabs her shoulders from behind and stops her.
Harry! Harry! It's Tom Ryan!
Harry! We got food! And some medicine and things from up here.
Harry stares up at the door speechlessly.
There's gonna be a thing on the radio in 10 minutes, Harry. A civil defense thing to tell us what to do.
We're coming up. We'll be up in a minute.
You're out of your mind, Helen. All it takes is a minute. Those things get in up there, and it's too late to change your mind. Don't you see that? Can't you see that we're safe as long as we keep the door sealed up?
I don't give a damn. I don't care, Harry. I don't care anymore. I want to get out of here. Go upstairs, see if someone will help us. Maybe Karen will be okay.
She takes control of herself. She steps toward Harry and speaks in a calmer tone, almost pleading.
Harry, please, for just a minute, we'll go up and see what's up there. We'll hear the radio, and maybe we can figure some way to get out of here. Maybe with all of us, we can make it, Harry.
Harry, his adamancy weakening somewhat, takes a cigarette from his mouth, exhaling the last puff, and drops it to the floor. He rubs it out with his foot. The smoke comes in a long stream through his pursed lips. Startlingly, Tom's voice penetrates again.
Harry! Hey, Harry! Ben found a television upstairs! Come on up! We'll see the civil defense broadcast on TV!
Come on, let's go up. There'll be something on that TV that tells us what to do. You can tell them I wanted to come up.
All right. This is your decision. We'll go up. But don't blame me if we all get killed.
Her eyes fall away from his, and she leads as they go up the stairs. End Act 2.
Nice. You guys, we have a lunch of nothing but mushrooms and spinach. So let's break for lunch. You're doing great, everybody. It's awesome.
Previously on Night of the Living Dead, the farmhouse turned fortress became a powder keg, and Ben was the man holding the match. Harry Cooper clawed for control. Ben demanded respect. The dead just wanted flesh. And when fear took the wheel out on that lonely road, the truck burned, hope died, and sunrise started to look a lot like judgment. Act 3, where the masks fall, the guns come out, and Romero proves the real monster was America all along. Act 3. The cellar door swings open. Helen and Harry step into the hallway. Faltering, they peer through the entranceway into the living room. Harry, standing behind his wife, is hostile, partially due to anger with himself because he has reneged on his decision about the cellar. Helen, too, is overwrought due to the emotional effect of the recent argument and to the fact that she's about to meet strange people in an anxious circumstance. But only Tom and Barbara are in the living room, and Barbara, overcome with nervous exhaustion, is sleeping fitfully on the couch.
We can see the broadcast, I think, if the TV works. I have to go help Ben.
Helen has gone immediately to Barbara, looks down at her sympathetically, brushes back her hair, and pulls the overcoat around her shoulders.
Poor thing. She must have been through a lot.
Harry, during these moments, has been flitting anxiously all over the house, from door to window to kitchen to living room, checking out the actual degree of security and worrying about imminence of attack at any second.
I think her brother was killed out there.
Tom! Hey, Tom! Are you gonna give me a hand with this thing?
Tom startles, aware of his procrastination, and bolts for the upstairs to help Ben. Harry, pausing momentarily in his anxiety, comes over to where his wife is looking after Barbara.
Her brother was killed.
This place is ridiculous. There's a million weak spots up here.
We hear sounds from upstairs of Tom and Ben struggling with the television set. They are making their way down the steps.
I don't care. There's people up here. Why don't you do something to help somebody?
Harry, not really hearing her, is staring once more into the gloom outside.
I can't see a damn thing out there. There could be 50 million of those things. I can't see a thing. That's how much good these windows do us.
The truck driver, who with Tom has reached the landing with the heavy television set, has heard the last part of Harry's remark. He glowers even as he moves with his end of the burden, but says nothing as he and Tom gingerly deposit the TV in the center of the room. They hunt for an outlet, find it, then slide and walk the set until the cord is close enough to be plugged in. Ben kneels behind the set to plug in the cord.
Wake the girl up. If there's gonna be a thing on the tube, she might as well know where she stands. I don't want anybody's life on my hands.
Harry, stop acting like a child.
I don't want to hear nothing else from you, mister. If you stay up here, you take your orders from me. And that includes leaving that girl alone. She needs rest. She's just about out of her head as it is now, so now we're gonna just let her sleep it off. And nobody's gonna touch her unless I say so.
Ben stares Harry down for at least a moment to ascertain that he is at least temporarily silenced. Then his hand plunges immediately to the television set. He snaps it on. The occupants of the room jockey for vantage points, and there are a bated few seconds of dead silence as they all wait to see if the set will actually warm up. All eyes are on the tube. A hiss begins, increases in volume. Ben cranks the volume all the way. A glowing band appears and spreads, filling the screen.
It's on! It's on!
There are murmurs of excitement and anticipation. But the tube only shows nothing. No picture, no sound. Just the glow and hiss of the tube. Ben's hand races the tuning dial through the clicks of the various stations.
Play with the rabbit ears. We should be able to get something.
Ben fusses with horizontal and vertical, with brightness and contrast. On one station, he finally gets sound. He adjusts the volume. The picture tumbles. He plays with it and finally brings it in. Full screen is a commentator in the middle of a news report. The people in the room settle back to listen.
Assign little credibility to the theory that this onslaught is a product of mass hysteria. Authorities advise utmost caution until the menace can be brought under absolute control. Eyewitness accounts have been investigated and documented. Corpses of vanquished aggressors are presently being examined by medical pathologists, but autopsy efforts have been hampered by the mutilated condition of these corpses. Security measures instituted in metropolitan areas include enforced curfews and safety patrols by armed personnel. Citizens are urged to remain in their homes. Those who ignore this warning expose themselves to intense danger from the aggressors themselves and from armed citizenry, whose impulse may be to shoot first and ask questions later.
During the telecast, there are mixed feelings and reactions, but these responses are sporadic and infrequent. Predominant mood of all involved is to learn as much as possible from the telecast.
Rural or otherwise isolated dwellings have most frequently been the objective of frenzied, concerted attack. Isolated families are in extreme danger. Escape attempts should be made in heavily armed groups and by motor vehicle if possible. Appraise your situation carefully before deciding upon an escape tactic. Fire is an effective weapon. These beings are highly flammable. Escape groups should strike out for the nearest urban community. Manned defense outposts have been established on major arteries leading into all communities. These outposts are equipped to defend refugees and to offer medical and surgical assistance. Police and vigilante groups are in the process of combing remote areas and search and destroy missions against all aggressors. These patrols are attempting to evacuate isolated families, but rescue efforts are proceeding slowly due to the increased danger of nightfall and the sheer enormity of the task. Rescue for those in isolated circumstances is highly undependable. You should not wait for a rescue party unless there is no possibility of escape. If you are few against many, you will almost certainly be overcome. The aggressors are irrational and demented. Their sole urge is the quest for human flesh. Sheriff Conan W. McClelland of the County Department of Public Protection was interviewed minutes after he and his vigilante patrol had vanquished several of the aggressors. We bring you now the results of that interview.
Fade and segue to videotape interview. Open on wide shot. A night scene. Dense woods. Posted guards maintain the periphery of a small clearing. Sporadic gunfire can be heard in the distance. Some of the men smoke, some talk in groups. The area is illumined by a large bonfire. Sheriff McClelland is the focal figure, medium close-up, so that as he talks we catch glimpses of activity in the background. He is shouting commands, supervising defense measures and the burning of the bodies, at the same time trying to answer reporters' questions. We cut or zoom closer. McClelland is pacing around, not straying too far, because a lavalier microphone is hanging on a cord around his neck. The crackle of the bonfire, the shouts and bustle of activity can be constantly heard behind his commentary. As he talks, he frequently turns away, his primary concern being his efforts in dealing with the aggressors and controlling his search party.
Yeah, well, this is a rough country for an evening hike. But things ain't going too badly. The men are taking it pretty well. We killed 19 of them today, right around this general area. These last three we found trying to claw their way into an abandoned mine shed. Nobody in there, but these things just pounding and clawing and trying to bust their way in. It's funny in a way. Must have thought there was people in there. We heard the racket, came, and blasted them down.
What's your opinion then? Can we defeat these things?
There ain't no problem. The only problem is whether we can get to them before they kill off all these people. But me and my men, we can handle them okay. We ain't lost nobody or suffered any casualties. All you gotta do is shoot for the eyes. You can tell anybody out there all you gotta do is draw a sharp bead and shoot for the eyes. Or you beat them down and lop their heads off.
Then I'd have a decent chance even if I was surrounded by 2 or 3 of them?
Well, if you had yourself a club or a good torch, you can hold them off or burn them to death. They catch fire like nothing, go up like wax paper. But the best thing is to shoot them in the eyes. You know, don't wait for us to rescue you, because if they get you too far outnumbered, you've had it. And we're doing our best, but we only got so many men and a whole lot of open country to comb.
But you think you can bring these things under control?
Oh, we got things in our favor now. It's only a question of time. We ain't for certain how many there are of them things, but we know that when we find them, we're going to be able to kill them, so it's a matter of time. They're weak, but there are plenty of them, and so don't wait for no rescue party. Arm yourself to the teeth, get together in a group, and try and make it to a rescue station. That's the best way. But if you're alone, you gotta sit stock still, wait for help. And we'll try like hell to get there before they do. Oh, tell them to shoot for the eyes. That'll stop them low jobbers.
You have heard Sheriff Conan W. McClelland for the County Department of Public Protection. This is your Civil Defense Emergency Network with reports every hour on the hour for the duration of this emergency. Remain in your homes. Keep all doors and windows locked. Do not, under any circumstances...
Ben reaches over and clicks off the television.
Why'd you click it off for?
Man said they only come on every hour. We heard all we need to know. We gotta get out of here.
He said the rescue stations have doctors and medical supplies. If we could get there, they could help Karen.
How are we gonna bust out of here? We got a sick kid, 2 women, one of them out of her head, and 3 men. And there's a million of them things outside.
Willard has a checkpoint there, about 17 miles from here.
Wait, you from here? You know this area?
Yeah. I was working in the cemetery across the road. I'm the caretaker. 2 of them things attacked me, and I hightailed it over here. Found everybody wiped out. Not too long after these other people fought their way in here, and I was scared, but I opened the basement door and I let them in.
Unbeknownst to everybody else, Barbara has been sitting up listening. Now she speaks, startling them and gathering their attention. She has come down from her hysteria, but is very weak.
You work in the cemetery? My brother is over there.
You poor thing. My girl is hurt too. We have to get to a rescue station. The television told us. We have to try and escape.
Well, I think we ought to stick right here and wait for a rescue party. He said if you're few against many, you don't have a chance. We can't tramp 17 miles through those things.
We ain't got to tramp. My truck's right outside the door.
This stops Harry. There is a moment of silence.
But I'm just about out of gas. But there's a pump near the shed outside. It's just locked.
The key ought to be around somewhere. There's a big key ring in the basement.
I'm gonna go look. The keys are labeled.
Is there a fruit cellar?
Yeah, why?
We're gonna need lots of jars. We can make Molotov cocktails, scare those things back, and then fight our way to the pump and gas up the truck.
We're gonna need kerosene. There's a jug in the basement too.
Barbara and I can help. We can rip up sheets and things.
Here's the key ring. The pump key is marked with a piece of tape.
Good. That settles that question. But we should take a crowbar anyway. In case the key don't work, the crowbar can double as a weapon for whoever goes with me. But I don't want to get all the way out there and find out the pump won't open.
I'll go. Yeah, you and me can fight our way to the pump. The women can stay in the cellar and take care of the kid. We should have a stretcher. Barbara and Helen can do that.
Harry, you're gonna have to guard the upstairs. Once we unboard the door, those things can get in here easy. But me and Tom gotta get back in here too once we get back with the truck. You gotta guard the door and unlock it for us. Then we'll board it up as fast as we can, because those things are gonna come fast on our heels, all right? Now, if we don't get back, well, then you'll be able to see from upstairs, and you can barricade the door again and go to the basement. And then you can just sit down there and wait for your rescue party.
I want the gun then. It's the best thing for me to use. You're not gonna have time to stop and aim.
Oh, I'm keeping this gun. Nobody else lays a hand on it. I found it and it's mine.
You don't care what happens to us. How do we know you and Tom won't just take the truck and cut out?
That's the chance you're gonna have to take. If we cut out, you'll have your goddamn basement, like you've been crying about this whole time.
We're gonna die here if we don't all work together.
My brother's out there. Maybe we can get him and bring him back. He's just wounded. He'll be okay.
That's okay, honey. We'll be all right. Maybe your brother will be too.
Let's get busy. We got a lot to do if we're gonna bust out of here.
He is on his feet, taking command. We fade out of the scene. We fade into a new scene. Completion of escape preparations. Tom is pouring kerosene into fruit jars. Helen is dipping twisted rag fuses in kerosene in the bottom of a dish. Barbara comes from the kitchen with more jars, drying them on the outside and putting them on the table. She and Helen begin working the kerosene-soaked fuses through the holes which Tom has cut in the jar lids. Between them is a crude stretcher made of broomsticks and torn sheets, this presumably for the wounded girl, Karen. The television is off, but the radio drones lowly, repeating the recorded message. The radio is on as a monitor only, that they might work and still keep up with news that may affect their situation.
I don't know what to think about my brother. We have to get out of here. Maybe we'll find him in Willard. Maybe he was able to crawl to the car and get away.
We have to think of ourselves now. It's hard for you, but it's all we can do. My girl is getting worse too. I have to get her a doctor.
Broomsticks and belt buckles and old sheets. Seems to hold okay. I always hated the Boy Scouts.
It'll be okay. Is there anything open upstairs?
Some windows in the rooms. Ben is unfastening the doors now.
We'll throw the cocktails from upstairs. Just splash the whole area with them. That should keep most of them away while we break for the truck.
We're ready. Here comes Ben now.
Ben, the gun strapped around his back, is carrying a crowbar and claw hammer. He walks around checking preparations, smiles at Barbara, glad to see she's a little better.
All right, things are ready up there. Now, me and Tom will unboard the front door. Harry, you take the two women upstairs. Carry the Molotov cocktails with you. As soon as the doors unbar, we can throw those things all over the place. Make sure they catch fire good. Then the women bust down here and get in the cellar. Don't forget the stretcher, all right? When we hear footsteps on the stairs, me and Tom will be gone. It'll be up to you, Harry. You gotta watch this door. Got yourself a good length of pipe?
I have a pitchfork.
Good. Okay.
Tom and Ben go over to the door. The others carry fruit jars, etc., and sneak quietly to the unboarded room upstairs. Tom and Ben are left alone. Tom is soaking a table leg in kerosene, ready to light it for use as a torch. They fall to work on the door, the painstaking work of quietly undoing the barricade. They do not want to give alarm to the lurking things outside. With crowbar and claw hammer, very carefully, both men working on each separate piece of lumber, they undo the barricade. Each nail creak is a menace. They are alert to the constant danger. They finish and watch, posting themselves anxiously by the door. Shadowy figures lurk in the dark outside. Tom and Ben wait for the Molotov shower to begin. A cry is heard. A window flies open. The first fiery blaze lights in the yard. More follow, some aimed for the creatures themselves. One or two catch fire. The others start to back away. The entire field is lit up. Bombs shower from upstairs.
That's all, Ben! Run for it!
His voice echoes as Tom and Ben burst into the yard. They are armed with torches and with a gun. They leap into the truck. Tom plunges a torch into the chest of an attacker, who immediately catches fire and goes down in blaze, clutching the torch. The truck starts up and careens in a U-turn for the old shed. Attackers fall away as it starts up. Ben aims, fires several shots. Most miss as the truck jounces toward the gas pump across the yard. But one creature goes down at the front of the gas pump near the old shed. Tom and Ben leap out. Attackers are starting to make their way to them from across the yard. Tom fumbles with the key to the locked pump. Ben shoves him back, hurriedly aims the gun. The gun fires, blowing the lock to pieces. Gas spurts out all over the place. Creatures advance. Gas still spurting. Tom crams the nozzle into the mouth of the gas tank in the back of the truck. Ben crouches and levels off with his weapon. An approaching attacker goes down, but more are coming in. Tom's torch has inadvertently set fire to the doused truck. The flames begin to lick and spread. The attackers gather in force, ever closer. Tom leaps into the flaming truck. It skids and lurches across the yard. Ben shouts to no avail. The flaming truck speeds away, driven by the panicked Tom. Several of the things are upon Ben. He thrashes and pounds them with torch and gun. Ignoring Tom, he has to try and fight his way back to the house. From inside the house, the panicked and cowardly Harry has only seen pieces of the action. He has been darting back and forth from door to window, trying to see what has been happening outside. From his viewpoint, the escape attempt has met with total doom. He has seen the truck catch fire, driven away by Tom. Ben appears to be overwhelmed. Harry runs again to the door. He sees the truck completely in flames, speeding away from the house toward a small rise. Back to the kitchen window, Ben is about to be overcome. Things all around him. Harry does not see as Tom jumps from the burning truck to be seized by attacking ghouls. The truck continually unmanned from the far rise and explodes violently. The noise and flames shattering the night. Several ghouls are at the front door, trying to beat their way into the house. From inside, Harry is in complete terror. He cannot hold out. All is lost. He panics and bolts for the cellar. But Ben has slugged his way through the attackers on the porch.
Let me in! Open this door!
He is pounding for admission at the front door. He turns and with a powerful lunge, kicks the last attacker off the porch. On the rebound, he plows his shoulder against the door. It crashes open, the lock broken, and Ben bursts in time to catch Harry at the cellar door. But there is no time. Ben frantically turns to reboarding the door. His eyes meet Harry's for an instant. Then they both fall to work. They board up the door. They are temporarily safe. They turn and look at each other, sweat streaming from each face. Harry knows what is coming. Ben's fist crashes against Harry's face. He is driven back, one punch following another, until Ben corners him, clenching his lapels against the wall. Ben's words spit out, each word punctuated by an additional slam of Harry against the wall.
Next time you try something like that, I'll kill you!
Ben slams him one final time. He slides down the wall, crumples on the floor. His face is swollen. He is streaming blood. Ben is already at the cellar door.
Come on up! It's us! It's all over. Tom is dead.
Fade out. The survivors are gathered in the living room. Barbara and Helen are slumped on the sofa. Overwhelming mood of hopelessness and despair. Harry sulks in a corner, his head slung back, his face swollen. He is holding an ice pack against his eye. His good eye follows Ben, who is pacing about the room, where Ben's pacing takes him to the kitchen, or to some area out of Harry's sight, the good eye nervously relaxing. Ben's movements make virtually the only sound. He is checking the defenses by force of old habit rather than hope. The rifle is slung on his back. For a long time, we dwell on the scene, on the absolute dejectedness of the prisoners within the barricaded house. Ben paces from door to kitchen to window. He starts to go upstairs, stops, checks himself, goes to the door again. He looks at his watch.
10 minutes to 3. There'll be another broadcast in 10 minutes.
Nobody says anything. Ben pulls back the curtain. His eyes grow suddenly wide, but he watches for a long moment. We see his view of the outside. There are many ghouls lurking in the shadows of the hanging trees. Some of the things are in the open, much nearer to the house than they dared come before. Remains of charred bodies are dimly apparent in various parts of the lawn. But Ben's eyes are fastened on a more grisly scene at the end of the lawn. In the moonlight, several ghouls devouring what had once been Tom. They rip and tear into aspects of his body, ghoulish teeth biting into Tom's arms and hands. Ben stares, fascinated and repulsed. With a convulsive movement, his fingers release the curtain. He turns, shaken, and faces the others. Beads of perspiration dripping from his forehead.
Don't none of you look out there. You won't like what you see.
Harry's good eye fastens on Ben, watches him, satisfied and contemptuous to see the big man weaken. Ben moves for the television, clicks it on. Barbara's scream pierces the room. Ben leaps back from the television. She is on her feet, screaming uncontrollably.
We'll never get out of here! None of us! We'll never get out of here alive! Johnny! Johnny! Oh! Oh, God! None of us! Help! Oh, God, help!
Before anyone can move to her, she chokes up as suddenly she began and slumps, sobbing violently, to the couch. Her face buried in her hands. Helen tries to soothe her, but great sobs come racking from deep within. She grows gradually quiet. The sobs diminish, but she remains slumped on the couch, her face covered with her hands. Helen covers her with the overcoat, but this action seems futile. Barbara makes no movement whatsoever. Ben allows himself to sink very slowly into a chair in front of the TV. Harry's good eye goes from Barbara to Ben. His eye fastens on the gun, which Ben lowers butt first to the floor and leans across his legs. Ben threads his arm through the fringed sling and maintains his grip on the forepiece. Harry watches.
I'm going to the cellar to take care of Karen. Come on, honey. Come and talk to me. It'll make you feel better.
But Barbara makes no response. Helen turns and starts for the cellar door. She has to squeeze past Harry's chair. Furtively, his eye on Ben, Harry touches her and pulls her towards him. She too watches Ben. She knows something is up. Ben remains transfixed before the TV. He is lost in thought. His mind drifts somewhere. There is nothing on the screen, just a dull glow and low hiss over scanning lines and static. He has turned the set on too early.
I've got to get that gun. We can go to the cellar. You have to help me.
He has let the ice pack come away from his eye. We see it as swollen, in blackened condition, and the desperation on his face. Ben still gazes at the TV, worried about the possibility that Ben might catch them in the act, and not really sympathizing with Harry. Helen pulls away, but she leans her face to Harry's and whispers quickly,
I'm not going to help you. Haven't you had enough? He'd kill us both.
She goes to the cellar, and on the way has to pass behind Ben's chair. She hesitates. Her eyes fall on the gun. The sling is wound around Ben's arm. We study her face. It is not clear whether she would have taken it or not, but she makes no attempt. She opens the door and goes down into the cellar. Harry's eye follows her as she leaves. As Helen reaches the bottom of the cellar stairs, she looks up and her face shows startlement, a shaken smile. Her daughter is sitting up, propped on her elbows, on the workbench table.
Karen?
She starts for her, but stops. There is something strange. Her face turns slowly toward her. We see the ghoulish look in her eye. She begins to rise slowly, terrifyingly, her features grotesque. The coat that was her blanket begins to fall away. Her eyes stare through Helen and beyond her. Slowly, agonizingly, she raises herself from the table. Helen, terrified, begins to back away across the cellar. Her hand falls on a knife. Her child creeps toward her. She moves a large packing crate, trying to block her path, trying to stave the confrontation, but she is too late. She springs. It appears as though the knife will be driven into her breast. But on the spring, we cut to the upstairs, where, simultaneously, a scream pierces the room. An assault has begun. The things are beginning to break into the house. They've gotten into the den and are hammering at the barricaded door. The walls are starting to come apart. Ben is on his feet, trying to reinforce the barricades. With hammer and crowbar, he works furiously.
Harry! Harry! Give me a hand over here!
Harry comes over behind Ben and instead of helping, rips the gun from Ben's back. Holding the gun on Ben, Harry backs toward the cellar. Ben turns around, panicked. The things are breaking into the house.
What are you up to, man? We gotta get these things out of the house!
Now we'll see who's going to shoot who. I'm going to the cellar, and you can run up here, you crazy bastard!
His hand goes behind him to the cellar door, but at that moment the ghoulish Karen leaps upon him with great thuds. Karen is at Harry's throat. Ben is able to grab the gun. He levels off, trying to hit the kid, but a sudden wrench to the two struggling bodies, and Ben misses. Harry screams. A great clot of blood appears at his chest. Clutching the wound, he begins to go down. He falls through the entranceway to the cellar stairs. He reels, grabs the banister, and begins to descend. We see his view as he falls, reeling, head first down the stairs. Ben, meantime, has flung the kid, Karen with one heave, against the wall. But things have broken into the house. Everywhere, the barricades are coming apart. Barbara, with a hysteria of revenge, has flung herself into the attack. She smashes a chair against one of the aggressors. It goes down. She smashes and smashes it on the floor until there is nothing left of the chair. She climbs up, still swinging, fighting with Ben against the things that have come into the house. It is quite apparent that they cannot hold out. The attack rages. They are overwhelmed. Ben grabs Barbara and pulls her after him toward the cellar. She is lashing and swinging, beating at an attacker, even as he drags her in. Ben flings open the door to the cellar, and Helen is at his throat. He brings the gun up between their struggling bodies until the muzzle is against her throat and squeezes the trigger. She is blown halfway across the room. Ben and Barbara run down the stairs. But Harry is sprawled in a pool of blood on the floor. He is dead, but beginning to rise. Ben pushed Barbara back. She turned her head away. Ben raises the gun, and we study this as 3 evenly spaced shots rip the room. Ben is almost glad to kill Harry. He turns to Barbara, breathing hard. She collapses against him and begins to sob. We hear faint pounding against the barricaded cellar door, but it is holding. The creatures cannot get in. The screen is black. There are sounds of birds, fainter sounds of dogs, human voices. Fade up quickly. Sunrise. The morning after the siege. The sky is clear. The rising sun is bright and warm. There is dew on the high grass of a meadow. Men with dogs and guns reworking their way up from the woods that surround the meadow. We do not see the posse at first. We merely hear their sounds, shouts, muffled talk, panting and straining of dogs against leashes. Sheriff McClelland's posse. A few men, some with German shepherds on leashes, finally come up out of the woods and onto the edge of the sunlit, dewy meadow. The wet grass has dampened the boots and trouser legs of the men. McClelland is perhaps the third man up from the surrounding thicket. He is a heavy man, mustached, breathing hard because of his weight and the difficult job of leading the posse through the night. He is armed with shotgun and pistol and a belt of ammunition strung over his shoulder. He pauses, looks back into the woods, and mops perspiration from his brow with a balled-up, dirty handkerchief.
Come on, let's step lively now. Never can tell what we'll run into up here.
He accosts a man just climbing up out of the woods. The man wears an improvised sweatband, carries a rifle and sidearm, and has a walkie-talkie strapped on his back.
You keeping in touch with the squad cars, George?
Yeah, they know where we are. They should be intercepting us at the house.
Good. These men is dog-tired. They could use some rest and hot coffee. Let's push along now. The squad cars will be waiting with coffee and sandwiches at the house.
The men push on across the field. Inside the house, Ben and Barbara have been dozing on chairs in the basement. Ben wakes abruptly, thinking he has heard something, but he isn't sure. He sits up and listens more closely. From far off, there's the sound of a dog. Ben listens for a long time, but hears nothing more. Outside, the meadow has become the apron of a cemetery, the one Barbara and John had come to with the flowers for their father. The posse is advancing, threading its way among the grave markers. A man finds John's skeletal remains near the spot where he had fallen. Down a dirt road and up a short grade is Barbara's car with a smashed window.
And it looks like this guy's car, or fella, never had a chance.
The men pass through the cemetery and over the wall, where several squad cars are waiting on the road. There are also one or two motorcycle patrolmen. One of the men dismounts and hails McClelland.
Hi, Connie. How's things going?
McClelland advances and shakes hands, stops a while, mops his brow again. The men begin to catch up and regroup. The posse fills the bend in the narrow road.
Hey, sure. Glad to see you fellas, Charlie. We've been at it all night. But I want to break till we get in that house over there. We might be lollygagging around while somebody needs our help. We'll see first, then stop and get some coffee.
Anything you say, Connie.
Inside the house, Ben has sneaked up to the top of the cellar stairs. He listens there, very intently, not wanting to open the door because creatures may still be in the house. This time, for sure, he hears gunshots and the mumbled sound of what must be voices of approaching men. There is even what sounds like a car engine. Ben bolts excitedly down the stairs. Ben wakes the girl.
Barb, here, honey, there's men outside. I can hear them. He must be here to rescue us.
Outside, we see the cause of the gunshots. The posse is flushing out ghouls from the pump house and surrounding area. The squad cars have driven up. The posse is advancing across the lawn, guardedly, toward the partially destroyed old farmhouse. The men crouch and sneak up slowly, keeping their eyes fastened on the house. A loud, sudden noise stops them. They watch, stopped in their tracks.
Shoot for the eyes, boys, like I told you before. Always aim right for the eyes.
Inside, ready to shoot or swing, Ben has slammed open the cellar door. The force of his shoulder against the door has carried him into the living room. Nothing. Only the ramshackle and destruction from the recent siege. He edges his way through the twisted wreckage and overturned furniture toward the front door. There is no light in the place. His hand finds what is left of the curtain. He pulls it back and starts to peer out, but a shot rings out. Ben reels, driven back, a circle of blood on his forehead, right between his eyes. Barbara's scream is heard from downstairs. Simultaneously, McClelland shouts, his face flushed with anger.
Damn it, what'd you shoot for? I told you to be careful, there might be people in there.
Nah, this place is demolished. There ain't nobody in there.
I'm sure I heard girls scream from maybe the basement.
Several men have advanced to kick in the front door. They step back and peer cautiously inside. Their faces search the room. A patch of sunlight from the open door falls partially on Ben. He is dead. The men look down at him, but step past him toward the cellar. They do not know he was a man. From the cellar, they hear muffled sobs. McClelland enters and begins to inch his way down the stairs.
Anybody down there?
He draws his pistol, inches his way down the stairs. At the bottom, he confronts Barbara, sitting wide-eyed in a chair. McClelland raises his pistol, aims it for her head, but something stops him. A tear in her eye. He lowers the weapon.
It's all right, men. Come on down, it's just a girl down here.
He goes to Barbara, bends over her, looks at her, begins to help her up. Closing scene with titles and credits. Burning of bodies in the yard of the old house. Perhaps the burning of the house itself. In the background, against the scene of McClelland draping his jacket around Barbara and bringing coffee to her lips, we see Ben's body on a stretcher, carried by two men. They lift it into the rear of a station wagon.
It's too bad. An accident, the only loss we had the whole night.
The end.
Excellent.